Hello everybody, I am Dan. Nice to meet you, or maybe we've already met. And I don't know how to introduce this video. I have my stock introduction that I do for all these episodes of I Want to Talk About This Album. I say hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album, but I can't say that today because it's not one of those episodes and I'm not good at this and I don't know what the title of this video is going to be, but I guess I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. It might be a little bit long, as my videos have a tendency to be, and it's basically me a little bit crying and complaining and lamenting and begging, maybe a little bit of begging and pleading, not quite on my knees, but I'm looking for some help. I could really use some help these days, and where to begin with this, I'm not sure. I've had a little bit of a tough time in recent times, and I don't expect anybody to feel sorry for me. You know, there's always people that are much worse off than whoever the person complaining is. And in my case, there are many people who are much, much, much worse off, probably including just looking outside my house. There are probably people who are in worse situations than me. But let me try to explain. It's about Metallica, and it's about me possibly going to Metallica. With your help, I'll come around and say I'm going to solicit donations, but not just a donation. I hope I can give you something in return. And I even took notes about what I want to talk about. I'm not sure in what order, but and I know it's really taken a lot of courage for me to do this, honestly. I'm recording this now. And my plan is to put it up in a couple of days so I can think about if I actually want to put it up or not. If you're seeing this, it's because I obviously did decide to do it. So again, I'm not sure where to start. I'll start with Metallica is playing 4 nights here in Mexico City, September 20th, 22nd, 27th, and 29th. Those are Friday and then Sunday, and then the following week. Also Friday and Sunday, as they've been doing for almost, I don't know how long now, a year and a half, I think. They've been on this tour. And I really want to go. Metallica is arguably my favorite band. There are 3 bands that I could make a case for being my favorite band ever. Metallica, Kiss, and Pearl Jam, which is kind of funny because the bands that I consider to be my top 4 bands are Metallica, Kiss, Iron Maiden, and Motorhead. Although I can't make a case for Iron Maiden or Motorhead being number 1. And even though Pearl Jam is not in my very prestigious top 4, I could make a very strong case for them being number 1. But I could maybe make the strongest case for Metallica more than anybody, probably being number 1. So they're playing these shows here, and I can't really afford to go. I can afford. I have the actual money to go, but you know, there are some things going on here that are preventing me from going. And I've got my notes here. Now, to start with, my suggestion, I am, as I said, soliciting donations, but I want to give something back. You know, I do these, I want to talk about, sorry, I should say this, I want to talk about these albums, or I want to talk about this album. I do those episodes. And so if anybody wants to donate, and please watch the whole video if you can, or at least as much of it to explain everything, because I could look really, really bad, and I'm trying to be very humble, and it's a little bit embarrassing to do this. So if you would like to make a donation, and I'm going to get to why I'm requesting this. Don't think of it just as a donation. Ask me. I'll do videos for you. If you have any requests for I want to talk about this album, I will do those with the full effort that I do with all the other videos. You know, they're typically around 20 minutes, 22 minutes, around there. I'm not going to just do, you know, if you donate, it's not going to be like a 4-minute video. If you have any other suggestions, anything you would like to see me talk about or do, and I know it sounds very arrogant. You're thinking, this guy thinks that I should give him money because his opinion is so important that that he should get money to talk about things. No, and I will try to, explain that too. If you want to see me go to my favorite taco shops here, my favorite taquerias, or the local markets here. I know a lot of travel vloggers do these videos. If you want to see me talk about, anything that you maybe wondered if I liked, or I don't know. Again, it sounds very arrogant to say, pay me and I'll talk about whatever you like. Now, the reason that I can kind of justify doing this video and asking for these donations, I talked to my friend in video chat, my good friend Dallas up there in Saskatoon, Canada the other day, and I specifically called him to run this by him. I said, you know, how would this look? Would it look douchey if I do what I'm doing now? You know, is it acceptable? I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I've thought about doing this for a couple of weeks now, and I thought I feel kind of bad doing it. But I asked Dallas because I respect his opinion. Maybe I don't know if I respect or if I value it. Whichever one is higher, to respect someone's opinion or value it, whichever one is higher. That's what I think about Dallas's opinion. And where do I go next from here? I can't. First of all, I'll get to the ticket prices and why I kind of need help for this. Ticket prices, the cheapest, and I'm going to use Iron Maiden, and I should cross these off my list as I talk about them. I'll use Iron Maiden and Paul McCartney as examples coming up, because Metallica, Iron Maiden, and Paul McCartney are all playing at the same stadium. It's Foro Sol, or they have a new name for it. It's Estadios GNP, Seguros GNP Estadio, something like that. A really, really long name for this new stadium. It's not a new stadium. It's Foro Sol, which I've been going to for 16 or 17 years. And so it's a good comparison. Maybe even more is Metallica's playing 4 nights at this stadium. Paul McCartney is playing 2 nights. Iron Maiden is only playing 1 night. The longer you play, the more chance you have to get more loot. The cheapest Metallica ticket is 2,294 Mexican pesos, which is $115. I've never paid anywhere near that much for a concert ticket. It's just, I mean, concerts here in Mexico don't cost that much. Now, you may be, that's so 2,294 Mexican, 115 US. You may think, if you're watching from the United States or maybe Canada or Australia or Europe, you might think, come on, that's nothing. I pay double that or more to see a concert, you know, every month. Well, you live in a rich country where you make, I guarantee you make a lot more money than I do. Your cost of living is more, but you can afford it because you make more money. But you know, $115 US to go to see a concert, it's just not in my budget. It's not in my price range. It's just outrageous. Now, here's the comparison. I have tickets. I talked about Iron Maiden Power Slave last week, I guess it was. When you see this, it'll be last week. And I showed that I have tickets for their upcoming show here in November. My Iron Maiden ticket, I checked, it was 732 pesos, which is $37 US. Remember, this is, in all cases, I'm talking about the cheapest ticket. I'm not talking about VIP or Snake Pit or Gold Experience or Front Row or anything like that. In all cases, cheapest tickets. So cheapest Metallica ticket is $115 US. Cheapest Iron Maiden ticket is $37 US. And remember, that's in the same stadium. Paul McCartney, the biggest legend in music there ever was and still is today, and he's playing 2 nights there at Foro Sol. His ticket was, and I do have a ticket for that, it's 580 pesos or $29. $29 to see, $29 US to see Paul McCartney, $115 to see Metallica, 4 times as much. Metallica ticket is 4 times as much as Paul McCartney, and I just can't justify spending that much money to see Metallica. I just can't do it. I've also, in the last, about a month ago, I kind of started planning a trip, which was going to be the biggest trip I've ever taken in terms of the distance. It's farther than Vietnam, where I went last year, last year. And I had to put that on hold indefinitely. I had an itinerary made out. Dallas and I have been talking about this for about 4 weeks or so. I've been preparing for it. I've got an itinerary set up. I had my flights, you know, ready to go and everything. But I thought, no, I want to wait until my next billing cycle of my credit card. So it will be due a month later than if I had bought it at that time. And some things happened that made me realize that I just can't afford that ticket. So that trip is off indefinitely. I don't know if it's going to happen. It was going to be in February next year. I don't know if it's going to happen. But for now, it is off indefinitely. And that is because I've had some trouble lately. I've had a lot of trouble lately, including with my work. I'm an online English teacher. I've been teaching English for 18 years. I taught in schools here in Mexico for 12 years. I started teaching online 6 years ago. and it's been great for me. It's, again, for, living in Mexico, the money I've made at that job, it's afforded me to go to Vietnam and Cambodia, to go to Phoenix, Arizona 3 times, to go to Canada once, to go to Cancun 3 times, to go to Merida, Mexico twice, to fly to Guadalajara just for 12 hours, see a concert and come back. All the concerts I've gone to, I've done really well at that job, but things change and I'm not sure what's happening, but that job is kind of being phased out and I'm not making nearly as much money as I was even, I guess it was about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm working hard. I worked 57 hours in 1 week a few weeks ago. And I know, again, people work a lot longer than that and harder than that. And I work in the comfort of my home, and some people have to go in traffic and sit in hot places or cold places or wet places. And yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. I'm aware of all this. I worked 57 hours because that was, the hours were coming and going. And that week there were, I just wanted to take as much as I can to try to pay for this trip that I had planned, which is off indefinitely. And nobody is watching this, I know. So yeah, things have been tough. And now this week, that week that I worked 57 hours, I think on the Saturday or Sunday that week, I worked from 6 a.m. I think to 9 or 10 p.m. And the Saturday, the day before, I had worked from 6 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. This week, I haven't been able to get nearly that many hours, so I'm not making nearly as much money. So there's that. And then just in terms of me in my personal life, I was physically assaulted I guess it was about 3 weeks ago. And I won't get into the details too much. If you notice in the episode of I Want to Talk about this album, the Cherry Pop and Daddy's episode, you could see I had a shiner, my eye was blackened, and Dallas just told me when I talked to him the other day, he noticed it in the Judas Priest Screaming for Vengeance episode with Metal Dave Glessner. I didn't know you could see it in there because I was in the same position here, and I thought the lighting, and also I was using my laptop camera instead of my phone camera, which is much better now. But I went back and I did notice that my eye was blackened in there, and maybe my face was still a bit swollen, I'm not sure. But I was assaulted right outside my house. The short version of this is a guy kicked my dog. My dog was being attacked by another dog, and the guy came over and kicked my dog, and I started yelling at him, and we were yelling at each other, and then his friend or somebody came up to me out of nowhere and just smashed me in the face, knocked me out. And it's kind of embarrassing, I guess, as a man, because I'm supposed to be alpha. Knocked me out. I was laying on the street unconscious. And I had a black eye, fat lip, bloody nose. Called the police. They never came. Called them again a couple of hours later. They never came. I ended up going to the hospital just in case, I didn't know if I was going to have a concussion or something. And, I thought something should be documented. And that is really, I haven't been in a fight since I was like a teenager, maybe in high school. And it really did knock me for a loop, not just, getting knocked out, but it changed my perspective. It's not like PTSD or anything that strong. And again, I'm not trying to draw comparisons, but it has changed the way that I look at things or feel about things, or it has changed me. I wish I could explain that better. And around that same time, I think just a few days before that, I ended my 14-month relationship with a woman that I really, 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 really had a great time with for 14 months. And I ended that. And so just, that relationship ending and getting knocked out. And when you get knocked out, I don't really have anybody here. I don't have any family here. I have friends, but not friends that, and then my work, it's just been this August 2024, it's early September now. August was just a terrible, terrible, terrible month for me. And I was thinking too, man, I wanted to go to Metallica, but I think even before that, I thought I couldn't justify it. But now I definitely can't. Maybe with your help. Now, the reason that I felt a little bit, and maybe I'll use this word again, justified in asking for donations for this now, is, I've had this channel for 18 years. I've said many times, I don't ask, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and ring the bell and hey guys, and leave a comment down below. Although I am kind of starting to do that more for experimental reasons more than anything. But you know, and I see all these YouTubers who are asking for money, just not for any reason, just like perpetual asking for money. And I always thought that was kind of the light is changing here. The sun's going behind a cloud. I didn't really like that. I thought, you know, like people are going to pay you just because you want to travel the world on their dime. Or there's one guy that I watch, a vlogger. He does he does videos similar to mine, although I've been doing this longer, I think, than him. And I've actually known that guy online since 1999 or 2000. We knew each other back then. And he has a channel, a music channel. As I said, he does videos similar to mine. And he asks for donations in every single episode, and I think he has a lot more than I do. He says, there's a link to my PayPal in the description below if you want to donate to me. And I thought that was, I didn't really like that. I thought I would never do that. Now here I am doing it, although this is a one-time only thing. And I did ask for donations when my dog got his face ripped apart and his throat ripped open. I thought he was going to die. At that time, he was a street dog, and my other dog, the one that got kicked, that's his mother. She also had her throat ripped open. I did ask for donations there, but I think to ask for donations just as a perpetual thing, I don't really agree with that. And also, as I was planning this trip that I guess I'm not going to take, we'll see what happens in the next few months. And also, when I was planning my Vietnam trip last year, I watched tons and tons of travel vlogs. And it's people that are basically full-time travelers. You know, they all quit their jobs. It's mostly Americans, but some British people, Canadians too. They quit their jobs, maybe nice, cushy jobs, I don't know, to travel full-time. And how do they support themselves traveling full-time? They ask for donations. And, you know, they have these Patreons, or there's I guess, I don't know much about Buy Me a Cup of Coffee or something, which is, you know, basically you're donating to them. There's also on YouTube, there are super chats where you can set up, and I don't think I'll ever do this, where when you do a live stream like I do, people can pay to comment, or Dallas told me people can pay to comment in the comments section. I don't think I will ever do that. I do YouTube just for fun, and I like doing it. I kind of wish that I would get more views. To some extent, I put a lot of effort into these videos. And I've got, you know, a notebook here of God, I don't know how much time, how many hours I've spent taking notes for a lot of these records that I do. And I'm not saying that I deserve money for that. That's on me. I like doing that. But for this time, it goes on and on. I am asking for donations to help me see Metallica. So if you want to make a donation, I would truly, I hope if you're a regular, you know, I hope that I'm a pretty, I think, appreciative person, a pretty honest person. I think down to earth. The way that you see me on camera is really how I am. I'm not, believe me, I'm definitely not a money-driven person. If I was, I sure wouldn't live in this country, in Mexico. But sometimes you need a little help. You know, maybe a shoulder to lean on, or, you know, somebody to, you know, just take your hand and say, I'm gonna give you a little, literally, not literally a hand, but, you know, I'm gonna give you a little support and try to make you feel better. And I think this might be my last chance to see Metallica. You never know. I feel like they're kind of, you know, getting towards the end. They might have another 10 years left in them. I don't know. But I really want to see them. So again, if you want to make a donation, please do. I'm going to leave my PayPal information below. Or if you're a Canadian, I'm not sure if this works for Americans too. I have a Canadian bank account. You can just transfer it directly through email. I think Interact, through your app, you can, without using PayPal. There's no fee, nothing. You can just transfer it directly to my account via email, which I will put below. If you're watching this, it's Mexicanuck, like a portmanteau of Mexican and Canuck, Mexicanuck at gmail.com. Don't sign me up for any porn. I'm already on enough list, or spam or anything like that. But so that's my plea. I could use a little pick-me-up. It's been tough times for me, as I said, the last month or so. This is early September. August was just a horrible month for me, for maybe a few other small things too, but I don't want to cry too much. You can donate whatever you want. Now, you know, what I would even sound if I said this, I'll bring you on the show if you pony up, if you really make my eyes pop out like a cartoon character with a big donation, and you want to come on the show like I did with Metal Dave and like I've done with Jason McMaster and Chris McLaren and Mr. Rust, and I think I'm gonna have 2 more coming up. I hope to have 2 more from 2 more singers from bands that I haven't talked about. I hope to get them on. If you would like, if this is the kind of thing that you would like to do, make a donation and, you know, I'll bring you on the show and we can talk about whatever album you like. If there's an album you want me to talk about, I maybe don't have the actual record, but I will still, as I said, make an effort to really talk about it. I might not like it. I might not have good things to say about the album that you choose, but I will do that. You know, any ideas that you have, let me know, make a donation, and I will do it. And again, it's very embarrassing to do this because I think, what if nobody donates? And if nobody donates, if you don't see a Metallica merch video, and that's something else I'll talk about in a second, if you don't see a Metallica merch video by the end of September, it means nobody donated, or, you know, there were not enough donations to get me this $115 ticket. And I keep thinking more things here too. It's expensive for me to go to a concert, not just the ticket itself, $115 US. I have to take time off work. You know, gasoline is tremendously expensive in Mexico relative to the cost of everything else. Gas is, I would even say, outrageously expensive. I have to take time off work. I have to pay for parking. Sometimes all of this wouldn't be a problem with Metallica. My car can't go into Mexico City on Friday, so sometimes I have to take a bus. And if I take a bus, it's often too late to come back on the last bus, so I have to stay in a hotel, which I haven't done in a long, long time. But it's very expensive for me to go to a concert. It always has been, but with my work situation these days and some other costs that I've incurred, and, you know, God, Mexico is getting quite expensive. I know it is wherever you live. It's also getting expensive, but Mexico is getting out of control. Mexico is always considered a cheap place, and I guess it still is compared to Europeans or Canadians and Americans. But believe me, my money is really, really, it's not stretching out the way it used to. Now about the merch video. Now this is another thing, and I hope this is a motivation for some people to donate. I will do, and this is what I love about these big concerts too. I've been doing this for 21 years. The first time I did this was taking pictures and videos at concerts, especially big concerts, was when I saw Pearl Jam. They played 3 nights in Mexico City in 2003. I flew here. I was still living in Toronto at the time. I flew here, saw those 3 shows, couldn't believe how incredible it was. You've maybe seen some of those videos. God, I've done them for everybody. Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, you know, even the smaller bands, Exodus, Corrosion of Conformity, Cadaver. I did one earlier this year for Madonna, Bruce Dickinson. I did it last year for even Taylor Swift, Paul McCartney. I love doing those videos. I really, really, not even the videos, even just to go, before I did videos of them, I just thought it was an awesome way to spend a couple of hours and get you in the mood before a concert, to see hundreds and hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating, of people selling this great, incredible bootleg merchandise. It's just incredible to walk around. If anybody ever gets a chance to come to Mexico City and see it, I highly recommend it. And those videos are always very popular. They don't make me a lot of money, but they do get a lot of views. And I think I have an Iron Maiden one that got around 40, 50,000 views. I think some other ones have been in the tens and 20,000s of views. It's really, really cool. And that's part of this whole experience, is that I don't just want to go to the concert. I want to go and take it all in. And I go there really early. I go there in the middle of the afternoon, hours before the concert starts. I often run into people that I know, or people, they maybe know me from the channel and they want to come say hello. I really, really, really love the experience. Which brings me to another point, and let me cross some things off my list here. I have passed on, I've only gone to 4 concerts this year. They're Bruce Dickinson, Madonna, Dirty Sound Magnet, and Venom Sabbathi, which is a local Mexico band. So really 3 international concerts. The last one was Madonna way back in April. I've passed on Exciter, and Raven. I think I'll reference Raven if I ever get to it. I'll reference Raven later. Venom is playing here on December 7th. I would love to go, and I can't go also, and I'm not asking for donations for all that, but they're just too expensive. You know, Raven and Exciter separately were around close to $50 US. I thought I can't pay more for Raven or Exciter than I am for Paul McCartney and Iron Maiden. You know, these same bands, Raven and Exciter, if they had come 4 years ago, tickets would have been $15, $20. Now they're $50. That's an example of the price of everything going up. Now getting back to the YouTube thing, if you think, oh, this guy, he's rich, he's making money from YouTube, he has 11,600 subscribers. Yes, but I have, and where's the number? I wrote this down. Maybe some people don't know, but at least in Mexico, and at least for me, YouTube pays me almost zero. In the last 27 days, typically it's 28 days, but when I checked it today, they hadn't updated it for yesterday, so it's 27 days. I've made a grand total of $12.70. It's like 45 cents a day. That's all I make. So this is not supplementing anything. It's just, and they only pay that when you get to up to $100. There's a $100 minimum threshold. So I get $100 every 8, 9, 10 months, something like that. Yeah, and again, you know, I see all these YouTubers that are really, really, I guess some of them are rich. Some of them are maybe not rich, but it's enough. They make enough money from YouTube to live off, to travel around. I'm not like that. I don't, as I said, I don't have a Patreon. I don't have any of these other things where you donate. I don't get the ad revenue that these other YouTubers get. Let me see what else. Getting to Metallica. Why are Metallica tickets so expensive? I guess I have a couple of theories. And something that bothers me about Metallica, they put out 72 seasons, whatever that was, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I want to talk about this episode of 72 seasons. And I listened to it that once for that episode. Haven't listened to it once since. But they announced that record in November 2022. At the same time, on the same day, they announced this tour. And tickets went on sale in November 2022 for the whole tour, which was starting a few months later and ending in September. These shows in Mexico City, the 4 shows, that's the end of the tour. And there's no way I could bring myself to buy concert tickets almost 2 years in advance. I just can't. There's no way. That's ridiculous. And that really bothered me. I love Metallica. Like I said, possibly my favorite band. And not just for their music, but even if I don't, you know, they've done some albums that I don't particularly like, but they've always been a great band to be a fan of because they always do cool things. They don't just tour. They do cool things like this, you know, the no repeat weekends. They play Friday and Sunday, totally different set list. Although within that set list, you know, there's not too much change from one night to the next in the same city. There's complete change. But from one weekend or one city to the next, there's not much change, but still pretty cool. And, you know, 10 years ago, they did the All Request Tour, where every set list was different based on people going online and voting. Very cool that Metallica does stuff like that. But I really, really, really dislike that they did this, asking for my money 2 years in advance. And I guess people didn't mind because those shows obviously sold very well. But I really, really didn't like that. Now, I think the reason why tickets are so expensive is they're playing, and I'm just guessing here, I would guess it's around in a year and a half tour, year and a half long tour. They're only playing, I would guess it's around 30 cities. You know, they're playing around the United States and Canada. They went to Europe. They're coming to Mexico. I think they did two legs in the United States. Not playing South America. I think not playing Asia. 30 cities, I think, maximum. 2 shows in each city. So around, let's say 60 shows, 4 in Mexico City. But let's say 60 shows to this tour. 60 shows in a year and a half. They're only playing 2 shows a week. That means they're dark for 5 nights a week. That means there's 5 nights a week where they don't have any income coming in from ticket sales, merch sales, whatever. But they have to pay their crew. Their crew is traveling and working, and it takes them, I guess, days to set it up in each city. They also have, you know, Metallica is just about the biggest band in the world. They must be traveling with I have no idea how big their crew is, their road crew, their techs and everybody like that. They also, because they're Metallica, you know, they must travel with private chefs and physical therapists and, you know, lawyers and band management. Probably their family joins them for good parts of the tour. Maybe not, I don't know. Well, who's paying for all that? Me and you and everybody else. You're paying for them to basically do, you know, 60 shows. No, let's say 60 shows. As I said, around 30 cities, 2 nights in each city. 60 shows in a year and a half. You know, they used to do 60 shows in what? You know, they used to play 5, 6, and I don't expect Metallica in 2024 to keep the same schedules they did in the 80s and 90s. Of course not. But, you know, they have to, they're basically making the same amount of money, taking in the same amount of money from 60 shows as they would from 200 shows some years ago. And I don't begrudge Metallica for doing that. You know, they've earned it. They're just about, as I said, the biggest band in the world. They're very successful. If they want to travel and stay in style and be comfortable, I understand that. But, you know, they take weeks off at a time, months off at a time, sometimes between legs, 5 days off between shows. And we're paying for all that downtime. You know, they keep their crew, I guess, on retainer in those weeks or months between legs because their crew has to make money. So, yeah, we're paying for that. And that's, I guess, why tickets are so expensive. I don't know how the concert industry works. That's maybe more mysterious than the airline industry. But yeah, Metallica tickets are just way too expensive. I think even if things were still going well with my job, even a couple of months ago, I started thinking, I don't know if I'm going to go to Metallica. It's just, I can't, you know, if we got to a point where everybody said, you know what, this is too expensive. $18 for a beer at a concert, that's too expensive. $60 for a shirt at a concert, that's too expensive. If everybody just said no to those things, you know, prices, it would take time. This goes for everything in the world, not just concerts. Supply and demand is the most cliche argument you can make, but everything would come down. But people clamor and they stand in line to buy the $60 t-shirts and the $18 beers. When I saw Pearl Jam in the United States in Phoenix a couple of years ago, the guy beside me I think the beers were $16 each or something. And by the end of the show, he had like he was stacking the cups up after he drank. He had a stack like this of cups. He must have spent $200 on beer. I spent $0 on beer. Now, I mentioned Raven earlier, so just go back to Raven. I'll use them as an example. They're peers of Metallica. They started even maybe 2 years before Metallica, playing the same kind of music. They even toured together in, I think it was the summer of '83. Raven is on tour this year. As I said, they played in Mexico. They're playing in South America, I think in November. They went across the United States earlier in the summer. And these guys are, you know, Metallica's age, maybe even a little bit older. And they're playing to maybe 200 people a night, maybe less than 100 people in some nights. And they're probably driving in vans. I don't think they would have a bus. Would a band like Raven have a bus? I don't know if they're driving in vans or trucks with U-Hauls, probably staying, you know, 2 to a room in you know, the cheapest hotels. And they're playing pretty much every night, no nights off. And it kind of bothers me. And again, I don't blame Metallica. They've earned it. So if they want to, you know, have this luxurious lifestyle, I get it. It just bothers me that we're paying for it and paying a lot for it. And also Ticketmaster. Man, the Ticketmaster service charges now are like 20. By the way, the prices I quoted earlier, Metallica $115, Iron Maiden $37, Paul McCartney $29. That includes the service charge. So Ticketmaster is a little bit responsible for that too. And Ticketmaster service charges now are like 22, 23%. Again, some years ago, they were 10%. So it's not just that they're more expensive. As a percentage, they're much, much higher too. So you're paying 23% of, you know, let's say $100 ticket, whereas X number of years ago, you were paying 10% on a $15 or $20 ticket. It's just become outrageous. Is that all? Oh, and also, I guess with Metallica too, they have these big opening bands. You know, Pantera, Greta Van. Pantera's not playing with them in Mexico. I know it's Greta Van Fleet Wolfgang Van Halen Mammoth, or Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen, Ice Nine Kills, and Five Finger Death Punch. I don't know who is opening which shows. I think it's Mammoth and Greta Van Fleet at the Thursday shows, and then Ice Nine Kills and Five Finger Death Punch at the Sunday shows, or I don't know what the combination is. But you know, some of those bands, especially Pantera, who's not playing here, they're taking, you know, they're getting paid very well too, and they've got big crews, and they're probably traveling in style as well, and you know, they got to get paid. So that's another reason. So this is not all on Metallica and their nutritionists and their masseuses and masseurs and their physical therapists and whoever else they travel with. But there it is. I think that's all finally. I could really use a night out at a concert. It's been a long time, and I truly hope you can help me. I hope this doesn't come off as douchey. I was worried about that, and that's why I talked with Dallas. We had a video chat the other day, and I do feel kind of self-conscious of that. And as I said, maybe I won't even get any donations, but if I do, and if I can get enough to get me to Metallica, and you know, if I can take a day off work, and I don't care if any of those 4 shows, and I think 3 of them are sold out, although you can always get 1 ticket and they always open up tickets late. I don't even care. I guess my preference would be to go to the very last one, which is the Sunday, although Sunday is my busiest day at work, so that would cost me more money to take the day off. I'll go any day, whatever day I can get a ticket for, whatever's available at that cheap price. There are some tickets that are available that are more expensive, but if I'm not willing to pay for the cheaper ones, I don't know if I would pay for the more expensive ones. I don't know, unless the donations pour in. Maybe I have a sugar daddy that I don't know about who's going to donate, $500 and say, go get the front row. Front row is probably a lot more than $500. You know, go get the best tickets you can find, and buy a couple of T-shirts and a poster and have some beer on me. I don't know, but all I want is a ticket to the concert. If I can get a little bit more than that to, you know, help offset the price of gas and expensive tolls and parking and time off work, I guess that's a bonus. But I would appreciate any help. And I don't know what else to say. I'm feeling especially sheepish now. I'll put this video up and I'll see what happens. But thank you. This has probably been, I don't know how long this has been. Am I around 30-40 minutes now? I hope you can understand my situation, and I hope you can get something out of it. And if you don't want to donate, obviously that's fine too. Obviously most people are not going to donate, but you will get a great video from the Metallica concert, the merch video. I always do really cool videos from there. You're gonna see really, really cool stuff. And don't forget, tell me what kind of video you want. Give a donation, and I'm not setting a price list. I'm not saying it's, you know, this much for a request for I want to talk about this album, or this much to come on and do an episode with me. Just whatever you think is appropriate. I mean, don't give me $1 and say you want to come on and do an episode with me, or, you know, to do the whole, Beatles discography for $2 or something. But I would appreciate any donations. Really, truly would appreciate. And again, I've started to do this only in the last video. If it would help, maybe, probably not monetarily, but at least for the channel, if you like. Maybe you don't like this one. Maybe you like, Y&T, which was the last episode, and I won't tell you what's coming up next. I did the Motorhead discography. There's a spoiler alert for you. I did the Motorhead discography 2 days ago. That will be up, I think when you're watching this, I think it'll be on Monday. I think the Motorhead discography will be up Sunday, I think, which is the 15th, something like that. That's done. That's 1 hour and 13 minutes of Motorhead. But yeah, like the videos, subscribe, leave a comment, sharing. I think sharing sometimes helps, if enough, if it gets shared to the right places. But thank you for being patient with me, and again, I hope I'm not douchey, and I hope everything works out for myself. If you can say that about yourself, usually you say that about somebody else. Oh, everything will be okay. I hope everything works out for you. I hope that for myself, because it's been tough for me. But thank you for your patience, for your support, and for any future donations. I will put the information in the description down below. Thank you once again. See ya.